Hello everybody, welcome back. This video is going up a little later than I thought. Sarah and I recorded the video, it's just me now. But we are going to talk mostly about the England and a little bit about the Netherlands and some Group A games. I wanted this video to go out yesterday or a day and a half ago, but I just ran out of time because the Spain versus Belgium game just ended and Spain looked really good. Actually, Belgium put up a really good fight. They were actually ahead at one point, but the final score was 6-2. So we're not really going to talk about the game in any other video probably, but Portugal is going to happen in about half an hour. And also in this game against Spain versus Belgium, there was a goal that was allowed that maybe some people think it was maybe shouldn't have based on the way they judged the England offsides goal. I saw this on Twitter. It says VAR overturning the Linos decision on a tight Belgium goal, but fumbled a clear onside goal for England. LOL my hands on Mars. So that person's saying, yeah, how did they allow that goal but not allow the England goal? We're going to talk a lot about the England goal, but the decisions in these games can be a little confusing and frustrating. But what did everyone think about the Spanish game? I mean, the Spanish look great. I think at this point they're going to win the whole thing. And England, unfortunately, has the group of death, and it just sucks the way sometimes that works out. But also, I always say this, but if the graphics don't really match what we're talking about, this video went far longer than I thought it was going to. So I always say that, but these graphics might not actually match anything Sarah and I are talking about because I'm just going to put kind of whatever graphics, if that makes sense. So pay no attention to that. I'm trying to make the videos a little bit shorter so I can spend more time on the graphics. But
hey everybody, how's it going? Well, the daughters have been eliminated. Iceland, that is,
They have been, I'm really sad about that because I was rooting for them, and they were actually in Group A. They were highest ranked in their group, right, for FIFA rankings right now. But how's it going, everyone? Yep, we have our first eliminated team, and we have our first advancing team out of the group stages. We're going to talk a little bit about Group A that just happened today. Then we are going to talk about the kind of controversial the England versus France matchup, and was it offsides? We don't know. We're going to talk about it. But let's get right into Group A, because Group A, the second game of Group A, and we knew teams could be eliminated today. We knew teams could advance today, and that's exactly what happened. And we have officially had our first team move on from Group A, which will be Norway. And I think a lot of people aren't necessarily surprised at that, because of the group Norway was in, but the way Norway has been playing has been a little bit underwhelming for most people. I know a lot of people don't like Carli Lloyd's commentating, but she really was saying she was unimpressed with Norway. So people haven't been shy. The Norway-Finland game, Norway won this game, but going into this game, both teams coming into this game with 3 points each in their group stage. They both won their first game. The Finland crowd was there. The crowd was pretty hyped for Finland, I thought. Unfortunately, in the third minute, disaster struck for Finland when there was an own goal. And it didn't start out well for Finland. Although Finland did recover a little bit. When you start out third minute own goal,
it sets you up for not a great game.
Yeah, it just kind of went off her ankle and it went right in. I thought Frida Monum scored it first, but the camera panned her. But yeah, own goal. So it didn't start out well. It actually got a little bit better in the 32nd minute. Finland actually did score. But Finland was playing pretty well. Going into halftime, the critiques of Norway were strong. Not playing well, not playing good enough. A lot of people were saying Norway will be lucky to win this. I even wrote down what Carli said. Carli said, this was bad. She said something like, this was bad. And they keep doing it. They keep playing bad. So, but then going in the second half, Norway did get better. I'm just going to go right to it. We're not going to talk too much about this game, but in the 84th minute, Caroline Graham Hansen actually scored a beautiful goal. She's a superstar. This was a beautiful goal. But so that was the winning goal. And although Norway did not look incredible, they won. They're moving on first team. Yeah, they were in Group A, which some people are saying is the least challenging group. I don't know how to say that. I don't want to throw shade at all, but I'm excited for them. You know, overall, I feel bad for Finland. They actually played really well, and I don't know, they played really well, and I think a lot of people thought, I don't know, they deserved to win. Here, I see a comment here.
That goal against Finland broke my heart. Finland played so well. Every move, every pass was incredible. They didn't deserve to lose like that. And then another comment says, another win that Norway didn't really deserve. Their first goal was an own goal. Should have ended 1-1. Finland, on the other hand, very impressed. Looking forward to seeing them against Switzerland.
So Finland can still move on. And when that person says they didn't deserve, you know, there was kind of talk about that. There was like, well, they didn't necessarily play the best, but that's what maybe, you know, that's why they did deserve, because they had a few moments where they played better, scored the goal, they got it done. So I think a lot of people are disappointed because Norway didn't look great and they still pulled out the wins. But I'm a fan of a lot of the players, but I think it's hard to see them not play great with all their great talent, you know. So, but Norway officially has moved on. Excited for them. Then the next game in Group A that officially eliminated Iceland was Iceland versus Switzerland. Now, this was always going to be a tough game for Iceland for a few reasons. One, they're going against Switzerland, home country, home field. So that wasn't wrong. Number two, they were already down a player because of the red card that she got last game. I believe it was Anton's daughter got a red card. So they were already down one player. They couldn't pull her for a sub, and that's important. So yeah, when I say down a player, they just couldn't use her, and she's an important player to them. So that was going to be hard. And also that ref, didn't you think that ref was very cute?
Sarah, you can't say that.
Sarah gets mad at.
But yeah, she was hottie.
Very cute. And also, it was raining. The first 10-15 minutes, they kept slipping a lot. I mean, they slipped a lot throughout the game, but that's always scary when you're slipping a lot. More injuries might happen. And obviously, we know Iceland had the first loss. They lost the first game of the competition. I'm just going to go right to the goal because in the 25th minute, we thought there was a Swiss goal. From a corner kick, there was a Swiss goal.
Because then it was called off.
Yeah. They said it was a foul. I believe they ruled it a foul through VAR because the defender, was posting up the soccer player. It made it into basketball. She was trying to defend when I guess the rule is when you get a corner kick, you have to be looking at the ball. Apparently that is the rule. You can't be looking at the players. I think that's what they said.
That's a strange rule.
Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they ruled that a no goal in the 25th minute or 30th minute, technically.
They've been calling off too many goals because of VAR.
Yeah, they really have. And then also in the 34th minute, there was an injury to. They had to sub off one of the Iceland players because one got injured. So, I mean, it was not looking good for Iceland. I don't know if that was because of the rain or whatnot. But going into the halftime, 0-0, in the 76th minute, there was a Swiss goal. The crowd went wild. And then after that, it was pretty much all Switzerland. They scored again in the 90th minute. Again, beautiful goal. And that was kind of it. Then there was one shot by the Swiss player. And I thought it was in. The commentators thought it was in. It was, however, not.
It hit the side of the net, but it totally looked in.
No, those are the goals where I'm thinking, am I the only idiot who thought it was in? And then I think Leanne said, no, I thought it was in too. So I was like, okay, good. And Iceland, that is it. That is their Euros 2025. They do have another game. However, I think they can prevent someone from moving on. I actually don't know if I know they're out, but I wonder if they could prevent someone from moving on because that's always exciting, but I don't know. I'll have to look into that. And the other two teams, is it going to be Finland or Swiss? I think Finland looks better, but I really want Swiss to move on. I really want Swiss to move on because it'll be great. And then people were freaking out. Jonsdottir kept wiping her towel, her ball she was throwing. She has famous long throw-ins. And people were freaking out because she was taking a while. And yes, maybe she was taking an extra 5 seconds. But at the very end of the game, Iceland was behind and she was taking time. You would think, oh, the other team would like it. You're kind of wasting time you weren't the team that was ahead. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's good, right? Yeah, so that is Group A. Now, let's talk about the big Group D, the group of death, or what did you call it?
God. No.
Because this game, I mean, this was, marquee game so far. This game was going to tell you a lot. This group, the group of death, 3 main contenders for the title, which means Netherlands, France, or England will not get out of that. One of those teams will not get out of that group. England are the defending champions, and France has a young team. Famously left Wendy Renard off this team. I think English fans were frustrated about this game, not only from the ref, but I think they felt like their team didn't play well overall. The final score was 2-0. And okay, so we're just going to get right into it. We're going to go right to the big play of the game so far, which a lot of people are talking about. In the 15th minute, I believe, we thought England had gone ahead. We thought they scored the first goal. We thought that England were going to win this. We thought, wow, England really got on the board with Alyssa Russo's goal.
But we thought wrong.
Yeah, so I'm sure every single person saw this. It was ruled offside. And I think a lot of people had a lot to say about it. They showed the VAR, or they showed the body image. I'm sure I'll put it on the screen. But they showed the graphic, and people are saying, what the helly? I saw a TikTok. What the helly? Because if you look at Beth, you can see Beth right here. I saw a comment. Offside is Offside in the room with us.
Ow.
I'm going to read some comments. Sarah, Offside's rule is kind of tricky. They even interviewed Beth at the end. They said, what did you think, offside? She goes, they have to be careful what they say because they can get fined. They can get in trouble. But she basically says, I don't know where the offside came from. I guess I'll read comments about what people thought about the offsides because that will help us right here. Someone goes, is Offsides in the room with us? And then the person underneath it says, so is your arm not part of your body now? Because obviously in the graphic, Beth's arm is onside. If you look at the French player, the French player's arms beyond Beth. So you think, okay, well then look at it right there. Kind of like, well, that's the first thing you see, any body part. And then someone says,
offsides only applies to body parts you can legally play the ball with. Do I agree with this call? No. Is it correct? Yes.
Okay, so that's what people are saying. People are saying because I believe her boot was offside. And then someone says slight bit of her boot is off. So they're saying the part of her boot is off. And then someone says if you look very closely, the French defender's thigh and hip is keeping the boot onside. So some people are saying it is onside based on her hip and her thigh. And then someone goes, the most ridiculous offside I've ever seen. And then someone says, shocking decision, but rules are rules. And then someone says, it's easier to see the top from the top view. Just a bit of her boot was offside. So they're saying just an inch of her boot offside.
Not that I'm obsessed with bringing this up or anything, but this reminds me of another famous incident that happened with
VAR.
With VAR. Oh, I might have VAR trauma. Should they not allow VAR anymore? No. With the Alyssa goal. That was inches, millimeters. Like, what are they freaking bringing out the ruler?
Yeah. Alyssa said she stared at that picture for hours. Did Beth stare at this picture for hours trying to decide because it was so close? And then someone says Beth's foot is in front of the French player, therefore offsides. FA website specifies hands don't count. So people are saying, yeah, her hand made her onside, but hands don't count. Any part of the arm, I guess, doesn't count. Just feet, any place where you can score a goal, basically. So not hands on arms. But a lot of people were not happy with this because they thought the ruling was so ridiculous. And some people are saying, hey, I think it's a right ruling.
So this comment says, I'm French, and to be honest, I can't see this offsides. And God, the ref was definitely on the French side. England couldn't have won like that. But I really think France defended pretty good and was better for this game.
Yeah, so this person said they're French and they didn't agree with the offsides ruling. So that was first. And now obviously And I see someone here, we're going to talk about it, but ref may as well have been singing the French national anthem. And then people are saying, once that goal happened, you would think maybe that gives you confidence. Almost the opposite thing happened. I don't want to say England fell apart or anything. That's not what happened. The French team just played really well. But from there, it was pretty much all downhill. You know, they looked good up until that part. Then it took the wind out of their sails. Then in the 36th minute, Katoto scored. That made it 1-up. Then in the 39th minute, Baltimore scored again, another goal. But then people are also saying they thought Alyssa Russo was fouled right before this goal happened, and that goal should not have counted. They even asked Sarina Vigman, hey, what did you think about that second goal leading up to the second goal? Do you think that was a foul? And she basically said, I can't say anything, but I wasn't happy, or I'm not speaking on it. I didn't agree. And she pretty much just said that. She didn't want to get a fine. She didn't want to get carded or whatever. And then I'm actually not quite sure what minute this was. I want to say this was the second half, maybe the 60th minute. There was Leah Williamson went down, and she went down hard. They were both going for the ball, Leah and I forget what other player went down for the ball, but a French player. And they both collided. But people are saying the French player's studs might have been up. Leah hits her head, then she hits her back. Then they're checking it for a red card. They check it for a red card. They say no red card. I guess that was VAR. But then you see Leah pull up her shirt and she has stud marks in her back. And people are saying not even a yellow, not even a free kick for that. It was basically, oh no, toss up ball. And people are saying, what the heck? How can all of these calls be going against England?
I didn't expect to see such marks on her back. That was kind of wild.
And even the BBC Sport put on Twitter, was France lucky not to be reduced to 10, meaning getting a red card? This challenge on Leah Williamson was reviewed by VAR, but the initial decision was not overturned, meaning they didn't overturn it for a red card. And then someone says, some people say, it wasn't a red card.
Anyway, this person says, it wasn't a red card. People might think it's a red card because the person challenged was Leah Williamson, but it's not. It was a fair ball, and Leah just got there faster.
Someone goes,
the ref in tonight's game was shocking. The fact stud marks were left in both Leah's back and ACL knee, and had a red card check, and wasn't even given a yellow card, says it all.
Yeah, and then also I have the comment here from the Russo possible foul. She took out Russo's legs before the touch. Foul. That was a blatant foul. So was the one against Russo. Clear biased officiating and VAR checking. That ref had a France t-shirt on under her top. I am telling you. And a lot of people, we're just reading that side. I'm sure a lot of people on the other side say these were fair calls, which it's just sometimes when you have a game where calls seem to be going against one team, it maybe seems like it's a biased thing, but sometimes it's just not. And I don't know. I think if I was English, I would definitely think it was what's wrong. Why are all the calls going against me? But then also on the other side, sometimes you just like they're accurate calls. It is what it is. Nothing crazy is going on, but it did seem kind of lopsided. But then, it was 2-1 going into halftime. Then I don't know. Then in the 87th minute, hope was restored because KEIRA Walsh scored her second international goal ever. And what did you say? Tell me what you said after you saw her goal.
And she just nonchalantly kicked it and just walked away. Yeah. Like it was nothing.
Like, okay, kick it. It wasn't even like, okay, guys, let's go back to the line or anything. It was like, okay, kick, let's go. It was actually kind of funny. But she was probably frustrated about the whole game.
Yeah, I was just going to say she's probably frustrated.
Yeah. Because I know they don't like to celebrate when you're down, but sometimes you're like, okay, let's go, retool, let's go. But that was it because England were not able to score another goal. Actually, it came close. Michele Agemang at the very end came close, kind of. She was a difference maker at the very end. It's just, and then a few of the subs came in. Grace Clinton came in. Agemang came in. They looked good, and it just. The French team was too strong. The French team maybe got the calls. I mean, I don't know how to say that, but this is going to put England in a tough predicament going out. But they can still get out. This is just one game. Then I do see something like this, and I'm going to read this because I see this is something that people say for the next game. If England want to change things up, then Sarina needs to do some different things. I'm going to have Sarah read this.
Okay. We are playing fan favorites over players in actual form. Maya should start over Leah, Charles over Carter, Clinton over Stanway, Aggie over Mead, Lucy and Walsh had a rough match. Hannah did a great job. Michele was incredible, and LJ tried so hard but looked annoyed at her own team. Ref honestly didn't make any incorrect decisions, to be honest. She allowed a physical game, but England didn't step up.
So a lot of, even that comment said they thought the reffing was accurate. And then, but they said the defense fell apart. 0 midfield. The attackers weren't able to attack as they were defending. So it was they kind of fell apart for England. What did everyone think of that game? Did you think the officiating was unfair? Or did you think they just played bad? Because 2 things could be true. I always say that. I should get that tattooed on myself. 2 things could be true. I don't think England played very well, although maybe they still got some rough calls. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't play well. So it's not because of the calls, but they didn't play well overall. So Beth Mead had a very bad night. And I say bad because she was called offsides, and maybe she didn't have the best game, and maybe England lost. But
maybe.
Okay, they lost. But her other half, Vivianne Miedema, had the night of time of her life, because not only did the Netherlands beat Wales, but Vivianne Miedema scored her 100th international goal, and it was beautiful, and they won. Now, I think most people thought Netherlands was gonna win. But Netherlands did it. They looked great. Final score was 3-0. Wales did a pretty good job. Into the second half, that's kind of where things kind of fell apart for them. But the very first goal for the Netherlands, that's when Viv scored. She scored the 100th goal. This goal was beautiful. There was no momentum. 3 touches, then scores it. It was beautiful. That was a beautiful goal to have your 100th goal.
Talk about a nonchalant goal.
Yeah, I know. It was the most nonchalant goal.
Yeah.
Then in the 48th minute, Vic Palova scored. And then Brute scored in the 57th minute. Beautiful. It ended up 3-0. And they did hit the cross. I think Jill Roord hit the crossbar twice or 3 times. Jackie Groenen hit the crossbar. But it was beautiful. Big win for Netherlands. And actually, it was so funny. So after Viv scored, she's very famous for not doing celebrations. But then she did a celebration, and people were kind of confused because her and Kirsten and I forget who else, they wanted to spell out 100, but then it turned into kind of something else.
I thought it was like 300.
Yeah.
I go, oh, wow.
Kirsten was putting Viv in the letters, and then Viv had a 00, and it kind of was a mess. And then they asked her after the game, like, what was the celebration? And she goes, it was supposed to say 100, but it looked terrible because we messed up or something.
Yeah, I think they were a bit confused on the celebration, what they were supposed to be doing. She's clearly looking on in confusion, like, what? Like, she's like, okay, I get the 2 zeros, but
Said it was supposed to be Viv 100, but the joke was Viv doesn't celebrate, and when she celebrates, she got it wrong.
Can you imagine her celebrating with like twerking or dancing?
Oh yeah, that would be something. But that was the big news, that they ended up winning. And you know what else? I don't know if you saw this. 100 international goals. Not one PK in that 100 international goals. That's crazy. That's major. That's because a lot of times you say, oh, you get your goals from PKs. Not one PK. I think that is maybe the craziest stat out of them all. So they had the big win. Wales in the first half played pretty well. Then, and then actually, I think Bernstein had an offsides goal at the very end that they had to call off. But so we will see who still moves on from that group. Hey everyone, I'm just ending the video here. I kind of got off the rails at the end, but the other game that just happened was Italy-Portugal. That was a wild game. Italy almost had it, then Portugal came back, and they ended up in a draw. And that was a wild game. That was a very exciting game. Maybe the most exciting from the tournament so far. But what does everyone think? Group D is still, we will see what happens. And I might do a little clickbait on the title. Sorry about that. Question, comments down below. We'll talk to everyone later. Have a great night. Bye.